Hey, Shalom Markins, Rakam Akaposh, and Jim Islana, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Chachwadash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful that's pushing his truth in all sincerity. Right, back again with another video. And I was listening to the elders over the weekend, from the camp, and they were going into the new moon and stuff, right? So you had me thinking about it like this. The Most High set everything in its order to do, jobs, man. They've got jobs to do, and they've got a particular way of doing things, right? And you got guys out there claiming that the new moon is a full moon, contrary to really what the scriptures really show, right? It really goes against the order of things that the Most High, does, for lack of a better word. And I just wanted to bring this example out, right? But let me grab this first. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 40. So let all things be done decently and in order. So we know the Most High loves order, right? He got the sun doing its thing, he's got the moon doing its thing. Everything's working under the will of the Heavenly Father, right? And we grab this in Genesis 1, verse 14. So the Most High said, let there be lights, or God said, right? Which I believe it was the word still Elohim here, right? So it's the powers, right? It says, the power was said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. Okay, so it's our way of being able to tell the time, days, months, years. Okay, these things are set up for us to be able to do that, right? So based on observation, right, the sun does something very similar to what the moon does, right? Because we're speaking about, the elders are speaking about, or we have spoken about how the moon waxes, right? Because obviously with the new moon for us begins when the moon is not visible, right? After it's waned, okay, which is the term for it, after the light of it is gone, right? Then begins the new moon, and then it becomes the wax, right? It starts over. It starts a cycle over, okay, and it begins to wax. Okay, it gets brighter and brighter until 2 weeks in, it becomes that full moon, and then it starts to decrease again, right? And that's that observation of time that passes, okay, until it does its complete cycle, right? And like I said, the sun does something similar to that, right? When the sun, the day starts in the evening, right? When the sun goes down. So when the sun disappears, things start over again, right? When the moon disappears, things start over again. Okay? Now when the sun returns, right, that's when, things need to get done. All right? And the sun rises, okay? So in a way, it's like it's waxing throughout a day, right? It waxes, it gets greater and greater until it hits its midpoint, okay? Midday, okay? Which is supposed to be like the highest point of the sun's trajectory, That's its highest point. And then it starts to go down again, okay? Much like the moon throughout the month, right? The sun doesn't start in the middle of the sky. All right, it doesn't start at its highest point. It's like saying where the moon doesn't start, in its perfection, as we're going to read, right, at its fullest. It doesn't start there. Okay, it waxes and then it wanes. Same way the sun rises and it goes down. It sets. Okay? And, it's just observation, and it makes total sense. The Most High is this, this is the order the Most High set it in. It's verse 16, I'll jump down. And God made these two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. Okay, which is the sun and the moon, right? We all know that. He made the stars also. And God set them up in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. Okay, the moon has its own light, the sun has its own light. Okay, but the sunlight is the greater of the lights, as it states. All right, the moon has a lesser light, okay, when the sun's not around, right? sky is black, but there's still light upon the earth. You know? This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 verse 18. I'll read from verse 18 here. It says, the beginning and ending. I'm going to start from 17. It says, for you have given me knowledge of the things that are, namely, to know how the world was made and the operations of the elements, the beginning, ending, and midst of the times, the alterations of the turning of the sun and the changes of seasons, the circuits of years and the position of stars, right? Because, like I said, they're all set to do their own thing. Okay, we use the sun to, measure the time during the day, right? We go sundown to sundown. Okay, that's our day over. Right? And then the next one starts. Okay, that's how we know, when the Sabbath comes in, it will be at sundown. Okay, not midday, right? That's not how we do things, right? It's at sundown, and then the next day starts. All right? It's the same with the moon. When the moon turns up, or, when the new moon turns up, okay, it's not really visible. You've just watched it disappear, okay? Its month is ended. Okay, but then it starts anew. It goes through that transition and starts anew and begins to wax again. Okay, becoming brighter and brighter as the month goes on. That's our measurement of weeks and of months. Okay, whereas the sun is the measurement of time of the day. Okay, and the seasons and whatnot, right? And this is from Sirach chapter 43. I'll read from the top. All right, it says, the pride of the height and the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven with his glorious shew. The sun, when it appeareth, declaring at its rising, a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. At noon it parcheth the country, and who can abide the burning heat thereof? Right, because I mentioned at midday the sun's at its highest, and also it's meant to be the point of its hottest. It's the hottest point of the day. There and thereabouts, right? It's at its I'm gonna use one of those long words, man, but it's escaping me. But it's at its highest point. All right, it's at its peak. All right. So the man blowing a furnace is in works of heat, but the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapors, sending forth bright beams. It dimmeth the eyes. You can't really look at the sun. It's too bright, And then even on an astrological level, they talk about solar flares, and the effects it has on the planet and stuff like that. All right. It says, great is the Lord that made it, and that his commandment runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times, right? Months and weeks, right? And a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feasts, okay? And like I said, this is how we measure the time, but it always starts from the new moon. Okay, we know the Passover comes in 2 weeks after the new moon, okay, which is the new moon of the beginning of the year, right? It's the first month of the year that we hold the Passover. It's the second week in, okay, on the full moon. All right. This is a light that decreaseth in her perfection. All right, it waxes and it decreases. Right, the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing. And I believe, I can't remember if it was from the Apostles video or brother did another video. I think it was from the Apostles video, to be honest. The word week, means changing, right? So, like I said, it goes through its stages of waxing and decreasing, right? So the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven, right? So for it to increase, it's got to start from a place where it's not so, right? In its perfection, it's not perfected yet. It increases to its perfection. All right? Anything else on there? It says, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. All right, so like I said, the sun and the moon kind of work, in similar ways, right? And the fact that they rise, they get to a peak, and then they go down and decrease, or You know, they work very similarly, even though they operate in different times of the day. You know, but when you watch a moon now, a moon won't rise in the night. It don't rise in the night. It is whatever it is at that point in time. You know, in that night. You don't see the moon wax throughout the night. No, you know, it's moving, for lack of a better word, slower. You know, to measure different time. Okay, but it starts from the new moon and increases and it decreases, man, and then you run the cycle again. It's a new month. Same way the sun cycles, you know, goes down, starts a new day, or you know, when it rises, you know, and that's when you go get to work, you know, while the light's there. All right, and when it goes down again, you stop working, innit? You know, go home, eat, do whatever, you know, sleep, whatever, you know. Anyway, this is a quick video anyhow. All right, so Lord willing, this is edifying, and catch you brothers and sisters on the next one. So till then, I say shalom.